Greetings, I'm Pillar Nexus, Ancient Gladiator. Today I'm just gonna chat and sleeve my cards for Fallout since I finally got what I needed. And talk a little bit more about it since I finally got the expansions, Atomic Bombs and New California. Very glad I got the Atomic Bombs expansion because I just think looking it over, it's just, I like that it comes with those extra options for playing the game cooperatively instead of the awkward competitiveness of the core Fallout board game. I believe the exact term I used was the agenda cards are where the Fallout board game stops feeling like an adventure and starts feeling like a game. With the cooperative stuff, come on, feels like it goes back to being an adventure again, just a little bit more. Notably, instead of the agenda cards, it uses these cards for moving things. It also adds in stuff like mutations, modifications, player goals, workbench upgrades, and this thing called the camp token. It acts as a fast travel system. In spite of that, I'm still going to be sleeving my agenda cards because, just in case anyone does want to play the game that way. Also, the New California expansion, the New California quest or scenario, there we go. That one still relies on the agenda deck, even though it's a cooperative scenario. This might be one I play solo at least a few times. There's something I wanted to talk about as well for future content ideas. Is, would anyone want to watch me play board games solo? I don't know. I'm gonna try. We'll try making videos of. We'll call it the solo sequence series of games, where if the game has a definite solo mode, you're going to see it. If I have to kind of make up my own solo rules for a game, then so be it. Obviously, games that are borderline impossible to do solo are not going to be featured. As much as I would like to do solo diplomacy, that's just not feasible. But this would be one. Renbad would be another. The Night Cage, Great Western Trail, Route with the Clockwork expansion, Call to Adventure. Let's see, Terraforming Mars would be crazy. I actually went through the entire solo process for that game. Silverton would be long as hell. That would be, I take my computer to the library and upload the video there, kind of video. Other ideas. Since it's here, let me go and show it. I have a sketchbook, and my big box of colored pencils. And I might make a stream out of physically drawing, because I'm trying to use the freaking mouse and paint using the freeform tool. It doesn't create stuff the way I'm honestly happy with. You see a lot of the stuff I do for my drawings and all that, I mostly use the straight line, fill, and spray can, and sometimes pre-made shapes. Yeah, I'm gonna try actually drawing for once. The last thing I actually drew on paper was for Kamata's birthday, and I know I could do better. Speaking of YouTubers, or maybe not, we'll just leave it there. Depending on what day you're watching this, it's going to be a tough 2 weeks without one of the YouTubers I really like watching. I'm hoping whatever happens gets sorted out, and we'll come back, because I don't. One guy I don't want to lose right now. There are very few guys that I actually like in terms of online content creators. I end up liking more of the ladies who also happen to be YouTubers. But I won't know what happened until someone says with absolute certainty of what happened. You know, I try to I stick to Twitter, and I look at Reddit. I don't comment on Reddit anymore. Screw that. And I stay the hell away from the Cloverleaf place, let's call that. This, all that drama just kind of building up and wearing you down. Makes it really hard to want to enjoy anything in that world. Speaking of other content, the HG 101 Hardcore Games 101 podcast for top 48,000 whatever games online podcast. I only did the episode I suggested way back in January. I wanted to request Lords of Magic. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the episode. I know the game didn't fly too high. It still flew a hell of a lot higher than I thought it was going to. Almost to the halfway point of the list. But, some things I know about the game that didn't get brought up. The variable mix, which I believe is covered on either. I think this is covered on the Wikipedia page for it. That depending on how the battles are going, the music changes. Yeah, I think that's the only thing. Oh, and the Legends of Uruk, because that little side thing lets you try out different standalone stories, different unique characters. Like the fire one was pretty unique to Iraq. The death one's unique to Iraq, but the others are like based on other stuff. Like the earth one for some reason is Beowulf, but it's Beo as a like halfling, which is weird as hell. And that one is stupid ass hard. The secret Ring of the Nibelung one is also stupid ass hard. But the one I really want to go back to and actually play through again was the Arthurian Legends quest with Order. That one was really freaking cool. I wish I talked a little bit more about that one. Yeah. For games that I'm nostalgic about, there are other games I could have suggested that probably would have been more frustrating or less entertaining to talk about. That's like Thexter, which it's interesting that you get a robot that can walk and fire homing lasers or transform into a jet and fly around with lasers straight ahead. But that game is hard as hell. And yeah, they probably wouldn't have, I don't know how much fun they would have had talking about that one. There's not much else to the game. The other would have been Quake 2, which, coming off the heels of how interesting Quake was, probably wouldn't have been seen as interesting. But I still personally like Quake 2. That's the game that eventually led me to Quake 3 and eventually Quake Live. And all the stupid amount of hours I put into that game. That game is now causing me a great deal of headache because I'll log in, I'll get into the game and then the game will crash when I'm trying to connect to a server or going from one match to the next. And I don't know what the hell is going on. I keep coming back to the game just to see what the hell happened. I got that taken care of. But yeah, it's between Lords of Magic, Thexter, and Quake 2 for games I thought about suggesting, and I went with Lords of Magic because I think that was one that would have been a whole lot better thing to talk about. So yeah, here's the freaking card I was talking about that they screwed up on the freaking classic propaganda for Haste of Better Dead Than Red. Yeah, I've seen someone else have a copy, a second run copy of Fallout where they actually corrected this one and the Grognak, the Barbarian, and Preston Garvey. Depending on what else is going on this afternoon, I might actually bring this with me to the game store, see if the guy who's usually running the Saturday quarter board games is going to be there. So if you are ever interested in coming to Chaos Games and More because you want to be at an actual game store to play board games, which is nice for just as a neutral ground. There's Tuesdays and there's Saturdays. After Tuesdays at like 5 or 6 or later, because granted we're doing the board game league. However, it's free table rental day. It's like the perfect time to come in and hang out and play games, get snacks, check out the store, meet people. The other, and you know what? There's no pressure to join the league for crying out loud. We are not that competitive. We're having about as much fun as we can with it. And then the other day is Saturday, which is about 2 and later. So the guy there has a table reserved for like the entire year, and we'll either bring a game of his own or someone else can bring a game, or let's play it. I need to look over the rules for this one more time. Make sure I get it down. Remember how happy as hell I was to get this game the first time. It's like, yay, adventure game, and I could play it solo. Cool. And it reminded me a lot of the World of Warcraft board game. Not the World of Warcraft adventure game, but the World of Warcraft board game. There's a lot of freaking World of Warcraft games for crying out loud. And just Warcraft and stuff like that. Even StarCraft. Yes, there's Warcraft, the board game, which is the conflict game of 4 factions and their units. There's World of Warcraft, the board game, where you are either Horde or Alliance, alongside 2 or 3 other players against the opposing side, trying to complete quests and improve your characters. And you can go together into a combat to improve your defense, but it means splitting the experience, which means it's going to take longer to level up. And you know, I've never, in all the time I've spent playing World of Warcraft, I never really got into guilds or any of that. Still, that's group stuff, you know. It's always a solo player. Those kind of want to say, "Oh, this is a game where you just cannot play solo. You have to play as part of a group." And that sucks for me because I never really got into a friend group of people who are into MMOs and I could play with them. Yeah. It's the last game I got into and was generally doing well enough playing solo was Anarchy Online. With my Aatrox and Horser with a big ass hammer. Its ability to taunt enemies and become stronger and regenerate over time. I wonder if I'd ever want to go back to that game. It's been over 2 years since I last played, so I don't know if I still have my character. Let's see, I guess. My levels. How high was my level? Was it like 30 something, 40 something? 50? Yeah, it's somewhere. Spent a lot of time in that game. There's another game I could play while listening to podcasts or streamers on my my phone. Realizing, oh hey, my phone has internet access. Better than I realized. It's been helpful. But lately it's just been either trying to get Quake Live to freaking run, or going back into Minecraft, for once, I have a world that I'm happy with. For now, I need to quit. I need to quit throwing the worlds away. This one, I filled in this big ass hole in the ground, lava, and using water to turn into cobblestone, and then putting a solid layer of stone over it, and then dirt over that, and then building my crazy cathedral, temple, mansion, whatever it is, with my nether gate. At the far end of it, I just need to move my bed and workstation out of that cave. I feel like the easiest home to have in Minecraft is dig a hole into a wall and then put a door on the outside. And for storage, I put more holes into the walls and put up barrels, so I can, like, little shelves in the back. There's another game I'd like to play with people. It's like, where do I find people to play with? This. Wondering if I should get into a Discord. Considering. Actually, never mind. You know what? Just take a break from all the social media crap right now. But it's hard to escape Twitter sometimes. It's just I hate the drama, but it's attracting my eyes so effectively. It's like, what am I supposed to do? And there's that whole worry that Twitter's going down or whatever. It's not in any good position, it seems. Maybe it'll step up and fix it, or not. We'll see who actually cares enough about that site and is satisfied with the treatment to actually want to keep it going. This one kind of down there. Let's talk about something more fun. Have I talked completely about the atomic bombs? So, like, one of the things you get is the assist die. Someone adjacent to you with a ranged weapon or in your same space can help you fight, but they risk taking damage in the process. It helps with dealing with the higher level enemies, but it's still kind of difficult. At least you get 1 XP if you survive beating the enemy. Okay, so I tangented off of the World of Warcraft board game into MMOs and everything else. Let's go back. Yeah, like this game, World of Warcraft board game, you have like 2 actions each turn. You can move. You can shop at a city where you're at. You could fly from one place to the next. that it was that was a cool game, but it took up a lot of space. So much space. Um, that game also had like unique items. Yeah, well, helpful reminder, if you ever have a game with cards, always check to see if what cards are called out by name instead of taken at random before you shuffle, because oh crap, you don't want to shuffle the cards that are called out by name. You're going to be searching a while for them. Like these ones. Include stuff like the blaster and dog meat. Minigun. Mysterious Stranger, the Pit Boy. So yeah, after the World of Warcraft board game was the World of Warcraft adventure game, a smaller scale in terms of occupied space. You had 4 heroes, 2 alliance, 2 horde, and a roll and move system. And a D6 based combat. I like the D8 systems from World of Warcraft, even when it was stupid ass hard at times. Another thing is, you could buy like extra characters for that game. So you'd buy all the characters that were previously in the World of Warcraft board game or the adventure game. And then I think eventually Blizzard Fantasy Flight lost the license to that, which is why we missed out on the opportunity for the Sign of Darkness expansion for the board game and anything else World of Warcraft related for the foreseeable future. However, eventually see more stuff with World of Warcraft, with the Small World of Warcraft, which takes the small world concept and replaces everything with World of Warcraft stuff, which makes sense. And I like the whole customizable map option. And then there's the Wrath of the Lich King board game, which is built on the Pandemic engine. Seems like the Pandemic engine can be used for quite a bit of things. There's a Pandemic The Fall of Rome, which I'm mildly curious about. Yeah. Oh, there's also the World of Warcraft miniatures game, which I want to say was it by Upper Deck, or was it by Tops, or was it? I'm trying to remember who the hell made that one. But there's like a little base with little base numbered 1 to 10 to represent how much more time they needed for the next turn. It'll be turn 1, they'll do something that requires 2 turns, and it puts them onto the 3. So turn 2 happens, they don't get to do anything. Turn 3 happens, they get to do something again. There's the card game as well, which is what led me to take up looking for another game like it. And Flesh and Blood got pretty close. I was looking at. So a few weeks back, I got curious and asked somebody about Flesh and Blood, and they got a learn to play deck for me and showed me how the game runs. And I've since picked up 2 Blitz decks and 6 packs of Uprising. I'm not sure what more I'm going to pick up for the game. I might pick up a few more packs for Uprising, and then call it there. I'll just start finding time to either play the game or else. I still want to come back to Last Shorts and get back into that as well. Find people to play that with, because I got all those cards. So yes, here's the. I like making things with cardstock, so I made a card library holder. There's a game that I probably regret selling a number of games at times, but I think one of my big ones is selling off Tales of the Arabian Nights with its great big storybook. And that was an interesting game. I would love to find someone who has a copy and see if they'd play it. On one of those board game days. Probably not for an actual league game, but entirely playable on Tuesday. Any other games I want to get back again, or at least try. Let's see, I missed out on an opportunity to get Chaos in Yodel during the auction because I was just tight on money. That's like a solid, you get to be a bad guy game. That's, I hope more people can play someday. Unfortunate that it's out of print. Yeah, all these licensing deals are such a pain in the ass. It's like they only get to have the game for a little while and then not anymore. I noticed Doom, the board game, is gone from Fantasy Flight on their site. But that's like the second Doom, the board game they've made. The first one might still be floating around somewhere. Fantasy Flight getting the Doom the license for Doom for making a board game twice is pretty interesting. Shame we haven't really seen anything for like Quake or you know what keeps haunting my dreams is freaking Quake 2, the board game, which doesn't actually exist, and yet my imagination and my dreams wants that board game to exist. It's like, am I going to have to be the one to make Quake 2 the board game? Maybe I should do something like that. Yay, we'll save the box, and I think I made this box too big. I'm going to have to cut it down by like, let's see, probably going to cut it. Let's see here, about 3/4 of an inch on this end, 3/4 of an inch on the other end. I'll just have to tape it to that size. Alrighty. Yeah, all the cards for Fall Letter Slaved. Yeah. So anything else on my mind? Just work being what it is. I've complained enough about work. I mean, kind of a break. And then just home life. I gotta quit. I just gotta stop scrolling Twitter and stick to focusing on making things. And then when I'm done making things, share them on Twitter. And just keep up with. Try not to spend too much time scrolling through news and all that. My hiccups. Why do my hiccups sound weird? Yeah, that's more cards leaving. More talk about Fallout and everything else. It's just fast travel. I'm trying to think what if I missed anything. I'm talking about atomic bombs, workshop upgrades. So instead of getting the agendas, whenever you draw an agenda card, instead get a workshop upgrade. Gets you extra stuff. There's mutations for when you have enough radiation, which have advantages and disadvantages. Modifications for stuff, goals requiring you to accomplish things like gaining special tokens, killing enemies, discarding money, having upgrades, discarding apparel, completing a vault, discarding weapons. And New California adds like 2 vaults. One is like a maze, desert maze. The other is this underwater nightmare. If you don't have a rebreather or you're not a robot, you're taking damage. But you might also find a rebreather in the. You could find a rebreather in there as well. So there's that chance. But really just. I missed some. Missed a couple sleeves. There we go. Let's correct that. Oh yeah. One of the additions is the gigantic companion card for Liberty Prime. Now this is this might be the last game I ever get, short of getting the new edition of Soccer Arms. I believe my wish list still remains: new edition of Soccer Arms, booster box for Cloud Fantasy, one last booster box for Hololive, Vice Shorts. Maybe another 6 to 12 boosters for Flesh and Blood Uprising. Maybe a few more map boards for Concordia, because we keep playing the same old map, and I was like, we really need some more options for this one. I'll have it end up like Power Grid. Do I want to bother with any more expansions for Roots? No, not right now. I know there's an expansion for Hyperborea and the promo stuff, but I'll leave it for now. And I know there's another version of Heart of Crown, like Heart of Crown Fairy Garden. But I hardly get to play Heart of Crown anyway. Yep, I think my game collection is like just done at this point, and I need to start saving. Well, actually, technically, I can't really save. I can't really save money when I owe my bank money. I can set aside money for like my bills in the future, and then I'll be ahead by that much. But work is just getting. I need hours. I need hours to pay bills, and I need to pay bills to get out of debt eventually. Except for the phone, I just need to pay off the phone, and I'd be able to be free of it. I know it's been helpful to have the phone to call for a ride. But it's also at least I don't keep my phone anywhere near my bed. That's been the worst. That was the worst experience I had with owning a phone before. Was I'd have it next to my bed, and then instead of getting out of bed in the morning, just like check my phone. Just fall back asleep. Yeah, this is it for today. This will just be another pillar talk of sleeping the cards for Fallout, and it was all good. Thank you very much for watching and listening. We'll see you next time. It's been Pillar Nexus.